I realized in my early 20s that getting rich is a skill, like anything else. So, I set out to learn that skill. I read books like The Millionaire Next Door and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Then, I networked with as many wealthy individuals as possible. I also took time to understand the opposite, the working class mindset. Ian and I lived in La Costa Mobile Home Park, our third acquisition, for 14 months. Living on the front lines shocked us, completely smashing our assumptions about who lives in mobile home parks and how they think. We've now comfortably spent time understanding each wealth class, and on this mid-month wisdom, I'm going to break down each so you can rethink your own trajectory. Working class people are obsessed with today. In an overly general sense, they don't plan much for tomorrow in terms of investing. Some of our best friends at La Costa possess insanely impressive talents and earning potential, but limit themselves with poor spending habits. Again, it comes back to this. I'm thinking about today only and not tomorrow. You see this phenomenon disappear within the middle class ranks. Plenty of folks take advantage of low-cost index funds, 401ks, and various other retirement and investment vessels. Yes, lots of middle class and even upper class folks live paycheck to paycheck due to thinking about today only. So I want to reiterate that I'm speaking in a very generalized sense here. What I've seen from folks, even like my own parents, is a focus on paying off the primary household, maximizing 401ks, and allocating a certain portion of income to life cycle funds or low-cost index funds in an attempt to diversify and conservatively invest and prepare for retirement. Generally speaking, this is a great strategy. My father paid off his house and has a nice nest egg to ease him into retirement. He's comfortable. He's safe. He's also risk-averse, capping his wealth upside potential. And that's okay. But that's not why you tuned in to this episode. You want to be rich, or at least achieve your financial goals faster. I've covered how to add rocket fuel to your net worth on a prior episode, so I'll refer you to that episode for more details on that piece. But the gist is the concept of capital preservation versus multiplication. If you don't already see where I'm going with this, let me be more direct. Working class folks think about today only. Middle class people invest in capital preservation opportunities, and the rich focus on capital multiplication. Middle class folks are obsessed with cash flow. I hear this all the time. If I could only achieve $10,000 per month passively, I could quit my job. Ian and I moved into La Costa Mobile Home Park, paying ourselves just $35,000 a year with no benefits or health insurance covered by a company as we were self-employed. We didn't need $10,000 monthly to quit. We still don't to this day. We still reinvest over 50% of our earnings back into our company, adding rocket fuel to our net worth. That is the concept of balance sheet rich versus cash flow statement rich. We're juicing up our net worth so that when we want something, we just tap into our wealth. We aren't laser focused on pumping up our monthly income. The problem with focusing on a monthly cash flow goal is twofold. Number one, the tax system in the United States of America is focused on taxing income. But, as of this recording, not on taxing wealth. So, like my friend Ryan Smith says, you can't earn yourself wealthy. Number two, a focus on cash coming in takes your mindset away from the growth of your balance sheet. Begin with the end in mind. Do you want cash flow or wealth? Ironically, wealth allows you to have the things you think cash flow will give you. If you want something, just tap into your wealth. But until then, build your wealth. Here's an example of a middle-class way of thinking about buying a fancy car. Wow, if I just got a pay raise, I could afford that BMW I've always wanted. Then you fight for years to finally get that pay raise, buy the BMW, and you're a net zero in wealth creation, yet your bank account remains the same because the income increase is offset by the elevated car payment. This is the middle class trap. Like the old cliche goes, poor people invest in liabilities, rich people invest in assets, middle class people invest in liabilities they think are assets. To reiterate, as of this recording, wealth isn't taxed. Cash flow is. So if you focus all your time on promotions at work and you just invest in low-cost index funds because you don't give yourself the time to build wealth creation skills, you'll be stuck with your 7% return in the stock market. And you'll continue to be stuck living a middle-class corporate life, which is fine if you like your job, but miserable if you don't, or if you eventually grow to hate the job. Rich people constantly think about how to build wealth. They build skills like learning a second language, attaining skills in their craft before outsourcing, and networking like crazy. Rich people constantly look for risks with undervalued rewards, not safe investment vessels that pay pennies. A middle-class person with a desire to be rich faster than in several decades needs to take risks. Diversification is for capital preservation, which is important once you're already rich. You don't get rich starting from scratch by preserving capital. One must multiply capital, which requires skills. Most people don't get rich. There's a reason for that. And that reason is it's really hard. It takes years of building skills, making sacrifices, and taking risks. And luck plays a big role in this process. But what would you rather have? A cushy, safe, middle-class lifestyle with very chance of ever breaking that cycle? Or did you tune into this episode because you're ready to do what it takes to get rich?